hello again. This is Rashonda Thornton, the host of the Dietitian Against Diets podcast show. Before I introduce you to my next guest, I want to take an opportunity to tell you about one of the companies that are part of this particular podcast show, Prairie Farm. Prairie Farms is a farm-owned organization since 1938. You may have seen their products in the stores. They have been making sure for the past 80 years that they're producing fresh, safe, and nutritious dairy products that they're safe in your home. Everywhere from the care to their cows to the care to their land by making sure they're implementing sustainability practices and making sure you're getting the highest quality dairy products out there. Now, when I say dairy, take in consideration all the products that they are responsible for. Sour cream, ice cream, cottage cheese, artisan cheese, and obviously milk. So make sure right now, especially during the COVID crisis, their farmers are working extra hard to make sure that these healthy and nutritious products are at your hands, but make sure they're in the stores. Learn more about Prairie Farms by going to their website at www.prairiefarms, or get some more insight on some of the things that they're currently doing now to make sure that you are informed and that you are still creative in the way you use dairy products. Go to their Facebook and Instagram account at Prairie Farms Dairy, and see some of their ideas. This is a great time to make sure everything you're bringing in as far as your nutrition is on point, and Prairie Farms will make sure that happens. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dietitian Against Diets podcast show. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Leslie Gill. She's the president of RUNG for Women right here in St. Louis. But before she got going into RUNG, she kind of got she got some accolades going forward, but just really showed her work in the community and how much she really has committed her time and education and life to it. Before she was the president of RUNG for Women, she's held several leadership roles in other sectors, nonprofit and for-profit. Some in particular is the Eddie Malone's Children and Family Service Center. She had leadership role at College Summit. She also did a lot of work in the leadership role of Girl Scouts here in St. Louis and Atlanta. So she is originally from St. Louis, and she has really now taken the reins on to not just keep the development of RUNG going, but also to further its mission to empower women. So with any more ado, Les, I want to welcome you to the podcast show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Oh, great to have you. Great to have you. In light of just everything that's happening, what's going on, I mean, this is the time to have these conversations, and when people are really settled and can start listening. But I really want to kind of highlight some of the things that RUNG has done in St. Louis, and where it can possibly go, because it seems like this is just the budding moments of it. I will tell you real quick, Les, I'm not sure if you knew, but I was connected through RUNG almost a year ago when you guys had actually did some sponsorship work for my book release last year. So when I talked with Joy from Fit and Food Connection, she told me she was working with you guys. And I was like, and then it just kind of one of those things. You got like 3 touching points, and where it's like, I think it's time for us to really connect and get to understand. I think we have similar missions coming from different places. So I'm very happy to really kind of dig into RUNG and see what RUNG is all about and let the community know as well. So I'm going to just start off, Leslie, it's all about you right now. So I'm going to kind of like this. Well, it's all about you, and then how you have created the RUNG effect.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to just basically ask you, it's like, what, when I see, I don't feel like RUNG is, it's kind of like the back end. To me, it's just kind of the epitome of like the work you've done, but it's not like you just jumped into this day one and you said, all of a sudden I want to do this. So kind of give me a little bit of insight, like what sparked your interest in just working with organizations that's focused on like helping others? Like how did that come about and grow?
Honestly, I just, a great opportunity landed me in this nonprofit space. I'll say that out of college, I thought that I was going to go to law school and become a sports agent. I'm a huge sports fan. I love sports, and like my childhood dream was to be, a basketball agent.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, I know. Upon graduating from college, I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. for the summer. And I got involved in a political campaign. At the time, there was the mayor's race, and they were electing a new mayor. And this was post Marion Barry. And so I worked for a candidate who I really
Okay.
believed in and who was phenomenal, but I was only supposed to be there for the summer. I had a job lined up with Tiffany and Company, so a little bit
Oh.
off the sports path, but I was like going to take some time off before going to law school, and had gotten accepted into the Tiffany and Company management program. So
Okay.
I was going to be moving to New York City after my summer in Washington, D.C. And it just so happened that right when I was going to be leaving for New York, the candidate who I was working for said, we just made it through the primary election. We still have the general election, and now you're going to leave. And he said, I'll make a deal with you. If we win, I'll guarantee you a job.
Wow.
So first kind of real life decision I had to make, like, do I stay here in Washington, D.C. and, continue working for this candidate that I really believe in? Or do I say, you know what, I've made a commitment to go to Tiffany's and I got to go. And so I did take an interim step. I called Tiffany's and I said, hey, I got this great opportunity to finish out a project this summer. Can I delay my start date? And they said no. So for me, that was kind of that was the decision point, right? And when they said
Mm-hmm.
no, he said yes. We ended up winning, and that really was the start of my career in public service. I really wasn't interested in politics, but what working in government did was really helped ignite this public service desire that I didn't know I had. Sports, I thought, was my passion, but really helping others was ignited by that experience.
Yeah.
So
You,
I, spent 10 years working for the mayor of Washington, D.C. after that. Best decision I could have ever made. I think the beauty of government, especially municipal government, it gives you the opportunity to learn a lot about everything,
mm-hmm.
learn a little bit about everything. And so from government services to city operations to how to fill a pothole, like
From every
I learned
level.
a lot from every
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
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 And so that's really what sparked my interest in helping others, is this time that I worked in local DC government.
Isn't that something how, we all, whenever we're going to college or whatever, we have this endeavor of what we want to be, and we put all our time and energy into it. And then we get blindsided by something that's unexpected. And we realize that it's not that your time was wasted, but it was just really a step to indirectly lead you to this step, and
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
and see now how we just fast forwarded 10, 15 years
Yep.
plus. I mean, see where you're
Yep.
at with it.
I
That's,
mean, and
that's
it
pretty
really,
cool.
yeah, it really helped me think about like what mattered the most, right? That time that I spent in government. And, subsequently, when the mayor that I worked for decided he wasn't going to run for reelection, I had to then again do some soul searching and say, okay, well, what do I want to be when I grow up? Like I had already
Again.
always had this, notion that, I'm going to be a sports agent. And I hadn't taken time to say, okay, well, I don't have any desire to go to law school now. I still love sports, but I don't really think that's my passion. So, at that point, I really had to say, okay, well, what do I want to be when I grow up? And
Yeah.
for me, I really thought, man, there might be something to this career in helping people. And I looked and thought about organizations that have been really important to me in my formative years. Girl
Mm-hmm.
Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, and the YMCA. Those were three organizations that I was a latchkey kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would walk home from school or be picked up by the Boys and Girls Club. I was a competitive swimmer, so I learned to swim at the
It may be where
YMCA.
you picked up just the athleticism, which led to you
Yeah,
wanting to
yeah,
go
yeah,
into
yeah,
sports.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
So,
was a part of your journey as growing up.
all of these things inform your journey. And so at that point, I decided, okay, now that I'm going to be looking for a job, I'm going to work for an organization that I really believe in. And
Yes.
lo and behold, the stars aligned and Girl Scouts had an opening here in St. Louis. So in 2007, I moved from Washington, D.C., 2008, from Washington, D.C., back to St. Louis to work for Girl Scouts and have been in the nonprofit sector ever since. Rung came about kind of out of the blue, honestly. I was leading Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center, which is obviously a really historic
Mm-hmm.
organization here in St. Louis. Annie Malone was an amazing woman entrepreneur who had just such deep affinity for kids in the neighborhood, and she started an orphanage 100+ years ago. And so I was loving what I was doing at Annie Malone, and a recruiter kind of contacted me and said, "Hey, there's this thing that you might want to consider. I can't really tell you what it is because it was a private search. They were just kind of putting the feelers out.
Okay. Okay.
Can't tell you what it is or who's behind it, but I'll tell you it focuses on women." And I'm like, okay, tell me more. By
Up
this
your
time
ears, like, oh.
yeah, yeah. I worked for Girl Scouts. I was raised by a single mom, and I was kind of like, okay, women, I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
um,
kind of familiar.
but didn't really know, all that it entailed because they couldn't tell me much. So
Yes.
went through the process and later discovered that it was Rung, which started as a clothing boutique. So I was
Yeah, I was going
a
to ask you, like,
avid,
how, yeah.
yeah, I was an avid Rung shopper, ironically. So
So
when the
you were
search firm,
already avid run shop before you were told about this position to this private ghost team that you
correct,
didn't know. Okay. Wow.
correct, yeah, I was like a loyal Rung shopper. Uh, I shopped at Sprung for my child who was a newborn at the time. So when the search firm
Interesting.
finally told me it was Rung, I'm like, oh, the clothing boutique, of course.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Like, I love what they're doing, but I didn't realize that they were looking to really pivot their mission and grow
Mm-hmm.
and scale in ways that has led us to today. So,
Yes. Yes.
about 10 years ago, our founder started a resale clothing boutique, really with the goal of helping women dress for the job they wanted. So lots of professional attire. And then over time, it kind of just morphed into all kinds of women's clothing.
So how long has Rung the closing the resale shop that portion of it? How long has that been established and open and
So
running?
it had been around for almost 10 years. It's closed now. The
Okay.
store closed about 2 years ago, but it started almost 10 years ago. And it was a thriving resale clothing boutique, very well merchandised. Like, the shopping experience was amazing, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to, like, if you're a resale shopper, you might go to Goodwill from time to time. This was like an experience, right? Like,
Okay. So it's like an
the
upscale.
windows, the design in the window was really attractive. It made you want to shop.
Where was it located at?
It was on Manchester and Rock Hill, like
Okay.
Manchester and McKnight.
Oh, that's a nice corner. That's a nice
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. Like, I loved shopping at Rung. And so when I was going through the interview process, I actually wore like all Rung
Something that you
attire.
purchased.
Yeah, something that I purchased, which I think might have helped me seal the deal. I don't know.
I mean,
But
the fact that you're already on the other side of you supported already organically, that just shows
yeah,
them how, it'll be an easy
yeah.
transition.
Yeah, but what they were building and what Allie's vision really was just blew me away as I learned more about it. It's rare in a career, and especially in a nonprofit space, where you get to build something from scratch that will have generational impact. And, initially, you don't really have to think about how you're going to pay for it, right? You can dream and build and create something amazing, um, if you don't have to worry about the cost, right? And
That's
so
true. That is
that's
so true. Such a
that
freedom to
that's
it.
yep,
Such a
yep.
freedom
And
to
that's
it.
essentially what I was handed, a clean slate, an opportunity to build something from scratch that would really have generational impact. Focused on women who, you know, I knew women like my mother who worked really hard, government job, provided for me, but could never really get ahead, right?
Yep.
Living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't realize that because I felt like I had everything I needed and wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But, now looking back, my mother was a RUNG woman before there was RUNG, right? And so I really got into the mission and understanding really what Allie's vision was. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it became a unicorn job, just a real unicorn
Meant for
opportunity.
you. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So
And
tell us now, like, how is it? Like, give us a layout of the, kind of the,
yeah,
what have you brought to the table? What have your team and everyone together has expanded it to be?
yeah. So when I started in November of 2017, I was obviously the only employee. At that point, the store had closed. And so I remember like day one going to like being brand like day one on a job with like no real place to go. I didn't have an office, right? I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? It was the strangest feeling ever because, normally when you start a new job, you
It's
go
already
in,
established.
it's already established. You go to HR, they give you your manual, they tell you where your desk is, and boom, you get acclimated, right? I'm like, okay, I remember like sitting at my dining room table, like, guess I better go buy a computer. Guess I need to
Wow.
find office space. And so, very quickly kind of got an office established. We rent space at the International Institute. So, I kind of got the office set up, and it was just me for like several months,
Starting from
thinking
nothing.
about starting from scratch, literally from scratch. Me
Wow.
and
Okay.
our three-member board, trying to chart this thing out. And so, in 2018, we acquired land in Fox Park in South St. Louis City, right on Sydney Street, so 3.7 acres. And one thing the board had decided is that we were going to build a women's center, that
Mm-hmm.
our focus would be women, and that we would have a program model that focused on coaching, not case management. Right. So a lot of times, you have women who are in crisis or coming out of a crisis. They'll go seek social service and they'll be assigned a case manager who like tells them what to do. In our model, we wanted women to be empowered. We wanted
Mm-hmm.
to provide a support system that would help them chart the path forward, but would not do it for them.
For them. Yes.
Yeah. So those were the three tenets that was the guidance the board gave me.
All
Women,
right.
coaching, and we're going to build a center. So I had to find the location. So I'm like, okay, let me go find a place to build this thing. And so luckily we landed on an amazing site in Fox Park, 3.7 acres. The building is about 46,000 square feet.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a $20 million project.
Yes.
Um, and so then the other thing that I quickly discovered is that, we didn't want to just create another nonprofit. We really wanted to leverage existing assets. And so that's how we got to know Fit and Food, is because,
Okay.
we didn't want to provide all the direct service. It's like we didn't want to be another organization that tried to be all things to all women. We wanted to bring in partner
Mm-hmm.
organizations who were doing something really well. So when we went out in July of 2018 and we did a competitive process to find partners that would join us on this journey. And the one criteria we had is the partner organization had to apply with the one service that they did really, really well. Like, if you could tell me one thing that you're known for, that's what we want you to bring to Rung.
Yep.
And
Keep
so
it keep it
and
focused.
also like we wanted a variety of organizations that could co-locate with us. And so we didn't want an organization to come in and then start to say, oh, well, I could do this and I can do that and I can do that. No, I just want you to do the one thing
Mm-hmm.
that you're really
Keep it
good at. Because
departmentalized.
often I've been in this seat before where, you start chasing dollars and then you start getting into mission creep and you start doing things that aren't aligned with who you are as an organization.
And
So
do you
I
feel
said,
you got a lot of that perspective from just the different levels of organizations you worked in, like government to, working with
absolutely.
establishment like the Girl Scouts? I mean, I'm sure it has created such a different perspective of how to run a business,
Yeah.
compared to the
Yeah,
traditional way.
absolutely. I will tell you, like, this role for me is like full circle, right? From
Hmm.
kind of like childhood through adulthood through all of my professional experiences. This is kind of like all of that wrapped into one, right? This mission for me is very personal. It's the health and wellness component of what Rung will be, is very personal. Like, my mother passed away when I was 16 years old of cancer. And so, those chronic illnesses that are in my family history, like this mission is very personal for me. Having, had been being raised by a single woman who worked really hard, this
Mm-hmm.
mission is very personal for me. And so for me, that's why I say this is a unicorn job. Like, it is almost like unbelievable. It's that fantastic. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Well,
great.
I mean, that was actually, you're answering a lot of the questions that I had already been planning to. I think you like reading my questions like while I'm talking
I'm reading your
while you're talking.
mind.
I'm like, oh, well, I don't gotta ask that one now. No, but
Yep.
it's great to just see just the timeline of, like, I had no idea that that's how the business kind of was able to expand. And I think, just out on a side note, like, you just giving a perspective, just what you were handed, and how you use your past experience and your own true passion and your
Mm-hmm.
childhood experience, and you just brought it together in a way that you're making the change that you truly, truly want to make, and you can see how it's going to be generational. And that's like not just a program for now, but a program that can build in so many ways. I mean,
Yeah.
even just hearing that as a woman, or just a person who has aspirations to do something to help others, to do something on a larger scale, like that's, to me, that's inspiring, that just right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I feel like how people, they set, either they have no example to model
Yep.
off of, and so
Yep.
they don't know where to move, or someone's telling them what they should do, and so they feel they have to follow that path, and not really
Yep.
having the freedom or the space, or exposure to really fold into who they are meant to be. And it seems like by happenstance on some occasions with your career and how things turn, it was all like tweaking you towards this one thing, like you said, a unicorn. And I just think that's really great how you have handled Rung, and like how you're trying to keep Rung, like, that the success of Rung is going to come about, making sure you have, people that you're bringing in to fold, that they are experts in their fields so that
Mhm.
those become resources for your members, and
Yeah.
encompassing the whole thing of wellness. And that was one thing I was going to ask you, because most time when you're thinking about career development, or you're thinking about develop counseling or coaching members to um, navigate through their life on an economic level or professional level, a lot of people don't bring into the consideration of what it means for your wellness, your emotional health, your
Mhm.
physical health. Like, how much, to me, that's the foundation of just any type of growth or change. And
Yeah.
the fact that you guys bring that in, to me, that's another big piece that helps you guys to stand out. Were you
Yeah.
the one that decided to just make that a part of one of the pillars for Rung?
Yeah, for me, it was really about holistic self-sufficiency, right? Because, as women, when one thing is out of whack, everything's
Everything
out of
else.
everything else is, interconnected, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, when I was really thinking about like what would make us different, it really had to have this holistic component. It really had to look at the whole woman, not just career, not just mental health, not just physical health. It had to bring it all together. And that's what makes us uniquely different, right? Is that, if you want to work on your finances, you can go over to Prosperity Connections, who's one of our partners, by the way, and they will assign you a financial coach who will help you repair your credit, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
need therapy, you can go to Provident or Safe Connections, and they will match you with the therapist and you can start on your journey. But we all know that if your finances are out of whack and you have childhood trauma that you've never dealt with, how you show up personally and professionally is impacted by all of that. And so, really, when I think about holistic self-sufficiency, I want it all right there in one place. So if I need to go see my therapist today, I can come to RUNG. If I'm going to meet with my financial coach, I can come to RUNG. If I, just want to get a quick workout in, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can come to RUNG, but I also don't have to think about, well, where am I going to take my kids, right? I can bring my kid with me. I don't have to think about, well, gosh, I got to hurry up and get out of here so we can get home for dinner.
That's
We're
another stress
providing,
that
that's
can slow
another
you down from.
stressor that becomes a barrier to success, right? So, guess what? We're removing that barrier. Bring your kids, have homework help for the kids, daily grab and go meals for mom or guardian and kids, like so that you can truly use that time to focus on you, right? Whatever your goals may be, whatever you have established with your coach, you can come to RUNG and be surrounded by a community of women who are essentially trying to do the same thing, which is move up the rungs on the ladder, right?
Yes.
That is intentional. We are really trying to get more women making more money and ensuring that they do so as like whole people, right? So that you don't have to make trade-offs constantly. You don't have to say, oh, well, I can't, pursue higher education because I don't have anyone to watch my child, or
And
I can't pursue higher education because I can't afford it. Like, we're trying to remove all of those barriers.
do you realize the community that you're creating by doing this? You're
Absolutely.
surrounded
Yeah.
by women that we all get it, and because we
Yep.
get it, we're going to make sure that you're going to hold your, whether it's accountability, they're
Yep.
seeing their person to their right and to their left, pushing and working
Absolutely.
too. Like, it's so many different things that just they may not even realize is happening by just being in that space.
Well, right, which is why we intentionally created a cohort model, right? Because community and sense of community was also really key in our development. We didn't want women just to continue to feel like they're in isolation. You are not alone.
Hmm.
You have a team of people who are lifting you up. You have a community of women who want to see you succeed. And we're going to start together. We might not all finish together, but at least like there are 99 other women who are starting at your same point. We all have different goals and different aspirations, but I can call Rashonda if I need a ride, or if I just need, a thought partner on an idea that I have. That's a healthy network that a lot of women living in poverty don't have, right? So, we were really intentional around creating community. The space, we did not want it to feel institutional in any way. So it's really warm, it's inviting, it's a lot of comfortable seating, a lot of small meeting spaces, huddle spaces. There's a kitchen, a commercial kitchen, and a demonstration kitchen because we want people to cook together. Think about how you interact as a family sitting in the kitchen, right? Most of how we socialize centers around food. So we wanted to create that kind of experience in space as well.
Wow. You make me want to come down there and give you guys a
Yeah,
visit. That's awesome.
it's funny you say that, Rashonda, because we fight this constant battle of like, we know RUNG is for women who wouldn't ordinarily identify as needing social service. It's been me. Like, I went through a divorce, and that was the most lonely experience. While I was gainfully employed, I was financially stressed, and I could have been a RUNG member, right? It's not just for women who are coming out of crisis. It's for women who are surviving, not thriving. Wow. So if you make, $45,000 or less, like, it is a great sense of community. And we don't want people to be like, oh, well, I would never go to a food bank. It's not that type of social service. You got to change
the narrative because they're looking at it like it's not a hand me out.
It's not. It's a hand up, not a hand out. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's for any woman, like, degree, no degree, anybody who feels like, yeah. Anyone who needs a community of women to help you get ahead and move up the rungs on the ladder, RUNG is for you. I have girlfriends who need RUNG. I have family members who would be RUNG members, and they're not homeless. They're not, living in shelter. They are just where we've all been at some point in life.
Yeah, and it's so great that you brought that up because when just someone just now hearing about it, that's the first thing they're going to think is like, because you got a lot of organizations that centered around providing women with clothing for interviews, and like SBA has the women groups that they work with. So you automatically think that, and it's not even a negative thing, but you're just letting people know that it is just not for that. It can help so many women in different areas of their life, different stages in their life. It's just a community to help to uplift women, period.
Absolutely. That's what I get. We've been doing some focus groups lately, and I will tell you the common theme has been the word stuck. Like, women who are like, I'm just stuck, right? Maybe I'm in a job that, is paying the bills, but I'm really not fulfilled by it. I feel stuck. Maybe I'm in a relationship that I know is not the best thing for me, but I don't know how to move on or get out. I'm stuck. Time and time again, it's like, I just don't know where to go next or what to do or how to even do it, right? So RUNG is intended to get you unstuck.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a safe space too.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing that's important.
We were very intentional in creating, physical safety, but also, in a space for emotional safety. Really important to make sure that, we help women understand that this is, unfortunately, as women, there's going to be, the occasional cattiness and
I knew where you're going.
Yeah, but, this is, it's in our DNA, but it doesn't have to be, right?
True.
And so
true.
It's intended to be a positive environment. I don't know, there are women who are parts of sororities or women's groups and or things like that. And, this is not that either.
Mm-mm.
It's
Mm-mm.
not intended to be like the in club. It's intended to be the club for anybody.
Yes.
Anybody who
Okay.
is, intrinsically motivated to want to change their life. And that can
Mm.
look any way for any woman, right? Like
Yes.
today, my only goal for today was to get outside and get a walk in and drink at least 128 ounces of water. That might be my goal for the next 3 months. And Run can help,
Mm-hmm.
the community can help keep me accountable, right? So
Okay.
between
Yeah.
affinity groups and volunteers and wellness activities that Fit and Food will help manage, like I should be able to achieve that goal and
Mm-hmm.
do it consistently enough that it becomes habit, right?
Yes. Wow. Sounds like a
Yeah.
now. Correct me if I'm wrong. These programs have already been in motion, or are they? Or how are the programs like laid out?
Yeah, so we essentially have been spending the past, by the time we open, 18 months in the design phase. So identifying the partner organizations, figuring out how the program will run, how we will select our cohorts. And the building actually will be finished this summer. So in July, the building should be done. We'll take the
Okay.
fall to sort of get everyone in and acclimated. We'll be open for some public events in the fall, and then we will actually have our first full cohort in January of 2021. So we're
Okay.
not open yet, but I will say if people are interested, send us an email at info@rungforwomen.com. I'm sorry, .org. Go to our website, rungforwomen.org. Follow us on social media. We're on all of the social media outlets just to stay informed as to how we're growing and what we're doing because we'll soon start promoting like
Mm-hmm.
registration and application for the first cohort and we'll start sharing progress on our building and when it will open. So there are
Yeah.
lots of ways to stay connected and be prepared. So, if you're like, man, this sounds like exactly what I need when we when we start to promote the application, you can apply and be part of our first cohort.
Yeah. Wow. And I mean, that's really good because you guys have the time to just keep building the momentum, but also having your pieces in place so that things
Yeah.
are rolled out successfully. Because you don't want to. This is something that looks and sounds like it's going to be a huge impact, and you want to make sure that you don't try to move it too fast because we're you know how you get passionate about something you want to have
Oh,
for the
yeah.
next but you have
Yeah.
showed patience since day one because you had to be the first to order a computer, so
Yeah, exactly.
you have
I
been an
started
example of
with
patience.
literally me, right? And today we
Yes.
have, a staff of 7 and we're growing. And so, it's just a real blessing. And I'm really humbled by the opportunity to lead such an amazing mission
Mm-hmm.
and one that will have generational impact. If we can change the trajectory of the women that we serve, think about how the lives of their children will change,
Yes. And I
right?
can see
And their
wrong and
children.
I can see wrong not just spreading generationally, but I can see it going past St. Louis. I mean,
Yeah,
the model you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
are building, I can assume it just meant to serve just St. Louis. It can
It
definitely
is not.
be duplicated from
Yeah,
what
no,
it sounds
our,
like.
our goal is absolutely to scale beyond St. Louis. We don't know where we'll go next, but we certainly want to make sure that we get the model right and tested
Mm-hmm.
before we start to think about, what makes sense in terms of the next market. But yeah, no, we scanned the country looking for best practices and things to replicate, and there was nothing like this out there. So, just really excited by our potential.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's going to be great. Like I am getting excited. I can't wait to stay
Yay!
in contact with it and see how it's rolling out. I'm telling you, like, I've heard about this. The thing is, like, when you hear about something, you just hear the name. Oh, you just hear the name, and then you hear other people that you are connected to talk about it, and that just to me
Yeah,
gives it more of a like. It's not. It's more of an organic way of creating awareness and
yep,
learning the authenticity behind it, and that's what
yeah,
makes it real. You know, so
yeah.
I am
No,
excited about. I want to say,
yeah,
hey, let's
and
do another interview in the beginning of
we'll
January.
keep building momentum too. This
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
the beginning. So
Yeah.
really
Well, Leslie,
excited.
I really appreciate, again, now that I've learned more about all the inner workings of it, taking the time to really talk about it. And you really, and I can tell like your passion, you have been the one that have taken the reins, and have just found a way to build a team around you to really make this
Mhm.
successful. And
Yeah.
the more people that know about this, the more it's going to make that impact that you guys are looking for. So I appreciate you coming on. Is there any other? I know you really just named out all ways that people can kind of keep updated. Is there any other social media platforms that you
So
guys
we're
are
on
still on?
Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook, Twitter, Rung STL or Rung for Women. Our website is constantly being updated. That's rungforwomen.org. You can email us at info@rungforwomen.org. The site, feel free to drive by and take a look. It's at 2717 Sydney Street, and that's St. Louis, Missouri 63104. And yeah,
All right. Well, again, Leslie, thank you again for coming on. As I said earlier, I may have to wrangle you and a few people back in the beginning of
yeah,
January
yeah.
because it's
I
going to
would
be an
love
exciting
that. I
time.
would love to
Yeah.
come back and talk about how what our launch looks like. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, and keep me on the invite list. I definitely want to be a part of it. So,
Definitely,
um, yes,
definitely. Yeah, you have to
yes.
come like do a session for us and share your book. That would be great.
Well, yes, it's a when you're talking, I don't want to pipe my horn, but like the more you're talking about this, I just see so many connections and just the audience and the mission with the audience, and we'll have
Yeah,
to probably talk about that behind the camera or whatever. But I
sure.
definitely see a lot of alignment that could work that will be beneficial for the people that you serve. But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Again, thank you for coming on.
Yep.
Um, Yep. And for those who are out there, right now we're in the St. Louis area, but keep your ears open because I feel like this is going to be a phenomenal organization that you're going to hear about in other spaces. So go to their website, learn more about the services they are going to be rolling out and how they're uniquely different. They really cater to the person, not just give you a program, but figure out what program works for you to help you be successful in your life endeavors. So
Absolutely.
again, I'm only going to bring on people to this platform that creates inspiration and empowerment to these conversations about how we can become a better version of ourselves. And as a dietitian, living the life outside of living by rules of following a diet, but just really following your heart and doing what's best for your life. So organizations like RUNG is in line with my mission as a dietitian. So again, thank you for coming on. Those who are out there, go to the website, learn more about them, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again, guys. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that wraps up another great interview. Thank everyone for watching. And as we're getting ready to close on this particular podcast, I want to give you some information about this organization called Gen Youth. Now, undeniably, they're in the Midwest Area Council. They have teamed up to support this organization that has really been successful in addressing their response to the COVID-19 crisis. They have a campaign out called For Schools Safe. Now, this campaign is built around establishing resources and funding for schools to have access to monies that will allow them to still be able to feed their kids in their communities, as well as provide other services that they need to make sure their kids are healthy and are safe. Find out more about them, whether it's you wanting to apply for one of their grants or even just to contribute. Go to their website at genyouth.org. Find them on Facebook or Instagram at Gen Youth Now. Support our kids, support our health through these times. This is Rashonda Thorne at the Dietitian Against Diets. Thank you guys and see you guys again soon.